The alien ship descended quietly from the dark sky. It was sleek and silver, shaped like a curved crescent with lights glimmering along its edges. The city below was Arden, a bustling human city full of people moving about their day. The Amazons inside the ship, all tall and powerful women with skin glimmering faintly under the ship's lights, stared at the city with curiosity. Their leader, Captain Zara, stepped forward, her eyes scanning every detail. She was trained in hundreds of battles across the galaxy, but something about this planet felt different. "Prepare for observation," Zara ordered, her voice calm but firm. Her crew, all expert warriors, nodded silently. Lieutenant Mira, her closest confidant, tapped on the display screen showing the humans below. "Captain, there are no weapons visible," Mira said, pointing at humans walking in the park. "No armored vehicles, no flying ships. They are moving calmly. Even when accidents happen, they do not panic." Zara narrowed her eyes, her mind analyzing the situation. "This is unusual. Any civilization we have encountered showed immediate defense when we arrived. Here the humans seem relaxed. Keep the observation active. Do not reveal ourselves yet." The Amazons engaged the ship's cloaking system, making it invisible to human eyes. Then they activated smaller cloaked suits, allowing them to walk among humans if needed. Their plan was simple: learn about this species, their response to threats, and their willingness to fight. As the day passed, Zara and Mira watched from above. Children ran across the park, laughing and playing near fountains. Adults walked their dogs, carried groceries, or talked in small groups. Cars moved along streets in careful patterns. The humans appeared ordinary, almost fragile, but Zara could sense something unusual. Their calmness was not fear. It was measured, careful, and precise. "They are not preparing for battle," Zara said quietly. "Yet they survive. Why? There must be something more." Mira tilted her head. "Perhaps their defense is hidden. Perhaps they have strategies we cannot see. They do not panic, but that does not mean they are weak." Zara nodded slowly. "We will see soon. We will learn how they react under pressure." As evening fell, the Amazons observed a small accident at the park. A child tripped and fell into a shallow pond. Several adults rushed to help. One man gently lifted the child, while a woman called for assistance from nearby staff. They worked together quickly, calmly, and without chaos. No shouting, no anger, no violence. Zara watched intently. Notice how they cooperate. Every action is calculated, every reaction measured. There is strategy here, but it is subtle. They protect life, not fight for conquest. This is unusual for a species. Mira's eyes followed the humans returning home. "Captain, they value safety over conflict. They communicate first and act carefully. I have never seen this in any other species we observed. Most react with fear or attack instinctively." Zara's mind raced. Her own species, the Amazons, trained for aggression and dominance, expected to intimidate others immediately. Humans were different. They were patient. They were careful. And they seemed to survive through this patience. The next day, Zara decided to observe the city more closely. The Amazons moved in their cloaked suits, walking among humans disguised as travelers from distant lands. They spoke in quiet tones, asking simple questions about daily life. The humans answered politely, giving information freely. Some smiled at the newcomers, while others waved hello. None seemed afraid. Zara paused near a market. Humans bargained, exchanged goods, and helped each other carry heavy items. A woman offered water to a man who looked tired. Children helped elders cross the street. Small acts, simple and quiet, but Zara felt their strength in these gestures. "They survive by helping each other," Zara said. "This cooperation is their weapon, and it is powerful. Every act builds trust. Every decision considers others. This is different from physical warfare, but it is still strength." Mira frowned slightly. "Captain, are you suggesting that humans can be strong without fighting? That they can survive without weapons?" "Yes," Zara replied. "Their strength lies in unity, patience, and strategy. They defend their lives and their people, but not through violence unless necessary. It is subtle. It is quiet. But it is still power." Over the next few days, the Amazons observed various scenarios to understand human behavior. A small fire broke out in a residential building. Humans did not panic. Neighbors called firefighters while helping each other evacuate. Emergency crews arrived swiftly, containing the fire. The Amazons had seen battles in hundreds of worlds. But here, no weapons were used. No blood was spilled. and yet the humans handled the situation effectively. Zara watched the firefighters coordinate. Even when facing danger, they do not rush into chaos. They think, they plan, they protect. This is discipline and courage in a form we did not expect. Mira added, "Their defense is built on intelligence, not aggression. They respond, but they do not destroy unless it is necessary. Their reluctance to fight is deliberate, not weakness." Zara's eyes narrowed. "We must understand this fully. We cannot assume that strength is always shown through combat. There is something unique about these humans. Perhaps it is their way of survival. Perhaps it is their way of life. But it is effective. They have survived centuries without showing the kind of aggression we expect." The Amazons continued their study, blending with humans in daily life. They visited schools, watched scientists work in labs, and observed city planning and emergency responses. Everywhere they looked, they saw the same pattern. Humans carefully assessed risks, helped one another, and avoided unnecessary conflict. Even when disagreements arose, humans used words, negotiation, and cooperation to resolve problems. Zara walked along the city streets one night, observing families returning home. Lights glowed softly from windows, and the streets were filled with quiet activity. She realized something important. Humans were not afraid of the Amazons. They were cautious, yes, but they trusted each other and their own judgment. "They are patient," Zara whispered to Mira. "They do not fight for conquest, but they protect. They do not act recklessly, but they survive. Their reluctance to fight? It is not weakness. It is strength," Mira nodded. "Captain, we came expecting resistance, perhaps even fear. Instead, we see discipline, wisdom, and courage. This changes everything." Zara took one last look at the city before returning to the ship. She felt a mix of curiosity and respect for these humans. They were fragile in appearance, yet strong in ways her species had never considered. She realized that understanding this species would take time, observation, and patience. "Our mission is clear," Zara said to Mira. "We must learn from them. We must understand how they survive without engaging in the violence we expect. This species may teach us a lesson we did not know we needed." Mira smiled slightly. "Perhaps the human's way is not ours, but it is powerful in its own right." Zara nodded. "Yes, let us continue our observation. The story of this species is only beginning. The patience, cooperation, and resilience we see, it may change how we view strength itself." As the ship rose above the city once again, the Amazons looked down at the glowing streets. Humans moved through their lives calmly, unaware of the alien eyes studying them. Zara felt a sense of respect growing within her. These humans were not warriors in the way the Amazons understood. Yet they had a quiet power that demanded attention, respect, and understanding. And for the first time, Zara wondered if the Amazons themselves might learn from the humans they came to study. Captain Zara stood on the observation deck of the ship, watching the humans move through their city below. Every action seemed calm and deliberate. Every conflict was small, resolved quickly without anger or chaos. The Amazons had observed humans for several days, yet the pattern remained the same. Humans avoided violence whenever possible, but they were not weak. There was a quiet strength in their actions, a careful intelligence that impressed even seasoned warriors like Zara and Mira. "We need to make contact," Zara said, her voice firm. "Observing them is important, but to understand their strategy fully, we must speak to them directly." Mira looked at her with curiosity. "Direct contact? Captain, are you certain they will respond to us without hostility?" Zara nodded. "We will approach them peacefully. We want knowledge, not conflict. If we act carefully, they will not see us as a threat." The Amazons prepared their cloaked suits, now modified to resemble ordinary human clothing. They exited the ship and walked into the city. Humans looked at them briefly but continued their routines. There was no fear in their eyes, no suspicion. Only curiosity and politeness. Zara felt a growing respect for this species. The Amazons approached the city council building. It was a tall, modern structure with glass walls reflecting the sunlight. Inside, humans were meeting to discuss city matters. The council members noticed the newcomers and invited them in with polite smiles. Zara and her team removed their cloaks, revealing their alien features briefly before activating subtle disguises to appear more human. "Greetings," Zara began. "We come in peace. We seek to understand your species, your approach to defense, and your response to conflict. We are observers, not conquerors." The council members listened carefully. A woman named Lena, who seemed to lead the council, spoke first. "You are welcome here. We value peace and cooperation. Our people do not seek conflict. We defend when necessary, but we avoid violence whenever possible." Zara studied Lena carefully. Her words were calm, her posture confident. She seemed honest and intelligent. "You claim reluctance to fight," Zara said. "Yet your civilization has survived for centuries. How do you maintain safety without engaging in warfare?" Lena smiled softly. "Strength is not always measured by weapons or force. We rely on strategy, planning, and trust. We work together, anticipate danger, and act to protect life. We fight only when there is no other choice." Mira whispered to Zara. "Captain, they are not weak. Their approach is different, but it is effective. They survive without the aggression we are accustomed to." Zara nodded slowly. "Indeed, their strength is subtle, but it is there. We must learn more." The council agreed to show the Amazons their methods of defense. They led them to a facility where humans trained for emergencies. It was not a military base. There were no weapons of mass destruction, no aggressive combat drills. Instead, humans practiced coordination, communication, and problem-solving. They trained for natural disasters, accidents, and civil emergencies. Zara watched as humans simulated earthquake responses. People moved in precise patterns, helping each other evacuate buildings safely. They carried supplies, guided others to shelters, and ensured no one was left behind. There was no chaos, no panic. Every action was calculated, every decision made with consideration for others. "They do not fight for dominance," Zara said quietly. "They fight to protect. Their defense is intelligence and cooperation. It is a form of strength we rarely encounter." Mira nodded. "Even their drills are focused on saving lives, not destruction. Their reluctance to fight is deliberate, not weakness." Over the next several days, the Amazons continued their study. They visited hospitals, schools, and community centers. They observed humans during small conflicts like traffic accidents or arguments at markets. Each time, humans resolved issues with words, compromise, and collaboration. Violence was rare and used only as a last resort. Zara began to notice a pattern. Humans assessed risks carefully before acting. They predicted possible outcomes and coordinated with others to achieve the best result. It was a kind of strength the Amazons had never encountered. One afternoon, a minor emergency occurred in the city. A small fire broke out in a restaurant kitchen. Humans responded immediately. Bystanders called firefighters while guiding people out of the building. The fire department arrived quickly, extinguished the fire, and ensured everyone was safe. No weapons were used, no fighting occurred, yet the response was efficient and effective. Zara observed silently. Even in danger, they do not panic. They rely on planning, coordination, and courage. "This is discipline and bravery without aggression," Mira added. "Captain, we came expecting to see fear or resistance. Instead, we see patience, intelligence, and teamwork. Their reluctance to fight is a strategy in itself." Zara nodded thoughtfully. "This species teaches us a lesson. Strength is not only shown through combat. It can be quiet, patient, and enduring. Humans survive by protecting life and by thinking carefully before acting. This is a form of power we cannot ignore." The Amazons also observed human leadership. Leaders like Lena made decisions through discussion, consultation, and careful planning. They considered the needs of the community, anticipated risks, and coordinated responses. There was no domination, no forceful control. Leadership was about guidance, protection, and responsibility. Zara realized that this approach was radically different from the Amazons' methods. Her people relied on dominance, speed, and power to control situations. Humans relied on unity, intelligence, and empathy. It was not weaker, it was stronger in its own way. "We cannot judge them by our standards," Zara said. "They survive through restraint, thought, and cooperation. Their reluctance to fight makes them resilient." "We must respect that," Mira smiled slightly. "They are impressive, Captain. Perhaps we came to study them, but we are learning more than we expected." Zara nodded. "Yes, our mission is no longer simply observation. We must understand this species fully. Their methods, their courage, their patience, all of it is worth studying. Perhaps we can learn from them even as they learn about us." As evening fell, the Amazons walked through the city streets with their human disguises. Lights glowed softly in windows. Families returned home. Children played in parks. Adults shared quiet conversations. The city felt alive, calm, and strong in ways the Amazons had not predicted. Zara observed a group of volunteers helping an elderly man cross a busy street. She smiled. Even the smallest acts show strength. They protect and support each other. Their survival is built on cooperation, not aggression. This is remarkable, Mira added. Captain, it seems their reluctance to fight is not fear or weakness. It is a conscious choice. They fight only to defend life, and they do so with intelligence and unity. Zara's eyes softened. Yes, we have underestimated them. Their approach is different, but it is effective. They survive because they plan, cooperate, and protect. Their power lies in patience, restraint, and courage. This is strength we must respect. That night, the Amazons returned to their ship. Zara stood by the observation window, looking at the glowing city below. She realized their mission had changed. They came expecting to test human strength, to see how quickly they could conquer or intimidate. Instead, they had discovered a civilization built on strategy, empathy, and collective courage. They are not warriors in the way we are, Zara said softly, but their way of defending life is strong, intelligent, and enduring. They survive without violence. That is a lesson we must learn, Mira nodded. Perhaps they can teach us more than we can teach them. Their strength is subtle but real. It is a power we cannot ignore. Zara turned away from the window. We will continue our observation. We will study their strategies, their coordination, and their methods of defense. Humans are not simple. They are not weak, and they may be one of the most remarkable species we have ever encountered. The Amazons prepared for the next stage of their mission. They would seek to interact with humans more directly, to understand not only their reluctance to fight but also the principles that guided their lives. Zara knew that this was only the beginning. Humans were teaching a lesson that even warriors like the Amazons could learn from. Strength did not always roar. Sometimes it was quiet, deliberate, and enduring. The Amazons stayed in the city for several weeks, moving quietly among humans. Captain Zara and Lieutenant Mira observed daily life, learning more about the humans' ways. They saw that even small acts carried meaning. Children helped each other carry books in schools. Neighbors shared food, and strangers offered assistance to those in need. Every action showed care, patience, and cooperation. Zara walked through the Central Park one morning. A group of children were building a small treehouse. They argued briefly over how to place a wooden plank, but instead of shouting, they discussed their options calmly. One child suggested a new plan and the others agreed. The structure grew steadily and laughter filled the air. These humans handle conflict without violence, Zara whispered to Mira. Even children practice negotiation and cooperation. Their strength is learned from a young age. Mira nodded. Captain, they do not fight for power. They fight to protect, to survive, and to build. Their approach is careful, deliberate, and effective. We must see this clearly. The Amazons attended human schools in disguise, observing how knowledge was shared. Teachers encouraged teamwork, problem-solving, and empathy. Students learned not only about science and mathematics, but also about ethics, communication, and leadership. Zara noticed that humans did not separate strength from wisdom. Strength alone was meaningless if not guided by understanding and cooperation. One day, Zara accompanied Mira to a community center where humans trained for emergencies. Fire drills, first aid, and evacuation exercises were routine. There were no weapons, no combat drills. Instead, humans focused on preparedness, coordination, and protecting life. Volunteers guided each other, assisted the elderly, and managed resources. Every participant knew their role, and every action was precise. Even when facing danger, Zara said, they act with clarity and purpose. They do not panic. They think. They respond. This is remarkable. It is a type of strength our warriors rarely practice, Mira added. Their discipline is quiet. Their courage does not roar. Yet it is present and it is powerful. Even a small human community can handle emergencies that would challenge many advanced civilizations. As the Amazons continued observing, they witnessed humans resolving disputes through dialogue rather than force. In a marketplace, two merchants argued over prices. Instead of shouting or escalating, they negotiated calmly, compromising where necessary. Customers watched, occasionally offering suggestions. In the end, both merchants smiled and shook hands. Zara smiled subtly. Even conflict is handled with intelligence and patience. Humans survive through cooperation and respect. Their reluctance to fight is not weakness. It is strategy. The Amazons also studied human leadership. City leaders like Lena organized their people efficiently. Plans were made thoughtfully, considering the needs of all citizens. Communication was clear, and responsibilities were shared. No one leader imposed authority through fear. Leadership was based on guidance, trust, and accountability. One of the most surprising things, Mira said during a quiet discussion with Zara, is how humans prepare for unknown situations. They anticipate risks, create plans, and share responsibilities. Even when faced with danger, they respond with knowledge and coordination rather than aggression. Zara nodded. Yes, their foresight is impressive. They survive not because they attack, but because they understand, plan, and protect. That is a kind of power our warriors rarely practice. Perhaps it is even stronger than force alone. The Amazons decided to test humans subtly, creating small challenges without causing real harm. They simulated power outages, blocked streets temporarily, and arranged minor logistical problems. Each time, humans responded with calm organization. Communities coordinated quickly, shared information, and solved problems efficiently. There was no panic, no chaos. The Amazons realized that human strength lay in resilience, intelligence, and collaboration. Zara observed a neighborhood responding to a minor flood caused by heavy rain. People worked together to build barriers with sandbags, guided children to safety, and ensured elderly citizens were protected. Volunteers communicated clearly with neighbors, dividing tasks efficiently. By the time the rain subsided, damage was minimized, and everyone had played a role in the response. These humans do not fight with weapons, Zara said, but they protect and survive with courage, strategy, and unity. Their reluctance to fight is not fear. It is confidence in their own methods. Mira watched a team of engineers repairing a collapsed bridge. Captain, they combine skill, planning, and cooperation. One small human group can achieve more than a larger alien force when guided by strategy and unity. They are remarkable in subtle ways. Zara reflected on the difference between her people and humans. Amazons valued immediate strength, skill in combat, and dominance in any situation. Humans valued patience, preparation, and protection of life. The two approaches were different, yet both were effective. That evening, Zara and Mira walked along the city streets, observing humans in their homes and neighborhoods. Lights glowed softly in windows. Families shared meals, and friends exchanged stories. Even during small disagreements, humans spoke calmly, respected one another, and reached solutions through discussion. Zara turned to Mira. We expected fear, resistance, or aggression. Instead, we see patience, intelligence, and quiet courage. Humans survive not by dominating others, but by protecting and cooperating. This is a form of power we cannot ignore, Mira smiled. It is more than power, Captain. It is wisdom. They know that destruction weakens everyone. Protection strengthens all. Even small acts contribute to the survival of their species. Zara nodded thoughtfully. Their methods may seem gentle, but they are precise and enduring. A human community can survive disasters, threats, and challenges that might overwhelm others. They rely on unity, planning, and understanding. That is strength in its purest form. The Amazons continued observing humans over several weeks. They joined community projects, helped in schools, and witnessed countless acts of cooperation. Humans repaired damaged streets, organized food distribution for the needy, and trained in disaster preparedness. Each act reinforced the Amazons' growing understanding. Humans were not aggressive, yet they were powerful. One day, a small emergency occurred when a minor gas leak caused a risk in a residential area. Humans responded quickly. Families evacuated calmly. Emergency responders arrived on time, assessed the situation, and neutralized the danger efficiently. There was no panic, no chaos. Every action was deliberate, thoughtful, and coordinated. Zara watched in silence. Even when facing danger, they act with control and intelligence. Courage is present, but it is guided by thought, not impulse. That is remarkable. They fight only when necessary, yet their survival depends on their preparation and unity. Mira added, Captain, we expected resistance. Instead, we see strength built on patience, intelligence, and empathy. Humans survive by protecting life, not by destroying. Their reluctance to fight is deliberate, strategic, and powerful. Zara finally admitted to herself what she had been realizing for weeks. These humans are different from any species we have studied. They do not display strength through dominance. They display it through unity, foresight, and protection. That is a type of power that deserves respect. As night fell, Zara stood at the edge of a quiet park, watching the city glow under streetlights. Families walked home, children played quietly, and neighbors talked softly. The city felt alive, calm, and strong, even without visible weapons or armies. They survive without aggression, Zara whispered to Mira. They protect each other. They act with patience and intelligence. Their reluctance to fight is not weakness. It is strength. Perhaps it is a lesson our people need to learn. Mira smiled. Captain, humans may be one of the most impressive species we have encountered. Their strength is subtle, quiet, and enduring. They fight only when needed, but they survive and thrive through wisdom and cooperation. Zara nodded. Yes, we have observed their courage, strategy, and patience. The Amazons came expecting to test them. Instead, we are learning. Their survival is built on more than strength. It is built on unity, intelligence, and protection. That is a power we must understand fully before any decision is made. The Amazons returned to their ship, ready to continue their mission. They had learned that humans were not simple or fragile. They were clever, patient, and cooperative. Their reluctance to fight made them resilient, and their unity made them formidable in ways the Amazons had never imagined. Zara realized that the next phase of their mission would be even more important. To truly understand humans, they needed to observe how humans responded under more challenging circumstances. Only then could the Amazons fully appreciate the depth of human strength and the wisdom behind their reluctance to engage in warfare. Captain Zara stood at the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the human city of Arden below. The Amazons had spent weeks learning from the humans, studying their methods of cooperation, patience, and resilience. Every day, the Amazons had discovered more about the humans' unique form of strength, one that relied on intelligence, unity, and careful planning rather than aggression. Lieutenant Mira joined her, concern in her voice. Captain, we have observed their methods in daily life, in emergencies, and in small conflicts, but we have not seen them face a real threat to their city. We need to understand how their reluctance to fight translates to actual defense. Zara nodded slowly. We will not provoke them unnecessarily, but when danger arises, we must observe closely. Only then can we understand the full extent of their resilience. The opportunity came sooner than expected. A rogue alien drone lost from a distant patrol entered the atmosphere and crashed in the outskirts of the city. The impact caused minor destruction, damaging a few buildings, cutting off power in a neighborhood, and creating smoke that rose into the sky. Zara's eyes narrowed. This is the test. Let us see how they respond. The Amazons watched as humans quickly organized themselves. Citizens evacuated affected areas calmly, guiding children, the elderly, and pets to safety. Emergency responders arrived immediately, assessing the damage and coordinating assistance. Firefighters contained fires, engineers worked to restore broken infrastructure, and medical teams treated minor injuries. Zara was silent for a moment, observing the humans' efficiency. No panic, no chaos. Every person knows their role. Every action is deliberate. This is impressive, Mira added. Captain, their reluctance to engage in violence does not mean they are weak. They respond with intelligence, cooperation, and strategy. This is their strength. Throughout the day, the humans continued managing the crisis. Volunteers brought water, food, and blankets to those affected. Neighborhood groups guided people safely through blocked streets. Communication was constant, organized, and precise. The humans worked together seamlessly, each understanding their part in the larger plan. Zara's mind raced as she compared this approach to the Amazons' own methods. The Amazons relied on combat skills, speed, and strength. Humans relied on coordination, foresight, and empathy. Both methods achieved protection and survival, but the human way was subtle, quiet, and enduring. By evening, the crisis was contained. The damaged areas were stabilized, fires were extinguished, and electricity was partially restored. Not a single unnecessary confrontation occurred. Humans had handled the situation without weapons, without aggression, and without panic. Their collective effort had prevented the disaster from spreading further. Zara turned to Mira. They survive not by fighting, but by organizing. They protect life at all costs. Their reluctance to fight is not weakness, it is confidence in their ability to respond effectively. Mira nodded. Even when faced with real danger, they act calmly. They coordinate, plan, and execute. Their approach is precise. Their courage is quiet, but undeniable. The Amazons decided to observe the humans more closely during the recovery process. They visited hospitals where injured citizens were treated, noting how doctors, nurses, and volunteers worked together. They visited shelters where displaced families were accommodated, seeing how communities shared resources, food, and support. Everywhere they went, Zara noticed the same pattern. Humans faced challenges without panic, addressed problems with careful planning, and helped each other selflessly. The humans did not rely on force. They relied on unity and intelligence. One particularly striking scene occurred at a city bridge damaged by the drone crash. Engineers worked together to rebuild it while traffic was redirected efficiently. Volunteers directed pedestrians, helped carry supplies, and ensured safety protocols were followed. Zara observed the operation silently, impressed by the precision and teamwork. "Captain," Mira said softly, "a single human community can manage a disaster that might challenge larger alien forces. Their strength is in their preparation, communication, and unity." Zara nodded, her eyes thoughtful. "They fight only when necessary, yet they survive and thrive. Their reluctance to fight does not make them vulnerable. It makes them resilient." As the days passed, the humans completed their recovery. Businesses reopened, schools resumed, and families returned to their homes. The city of Arden had faced a real threat and emerged stronger. Humans had not sought conflict, yet they had defended themselves with skill, patience, and coordination. Zara gathered her crew for a discussion. "The humans have taught us a lesson we did not anticipate. Strength is not always shown through combat. Survival is not measured by how quickly one can strike. Humans survive because they think, plan, and cooperate. Their reluctance to fight is a deliberate strategy, and it works." Mira added, "Captain, they have survived centuries by relying on intelligence, foresight, and unity. They do not attack unnecessarily, but they defend effectively. We underestimated them before." Zara's gaze returned to the city below. Families walked the streets, children played, and neighbors helped each other rebuild. Humans were not warriors in the traditional sense, yet their actions demonstrated courage, resilience, and strategy. "They are not loud in their strength," Zara said softly, "but it is present in every action, every decision, and every cooperation. They survive because they choose to protect life, not destroy it." The Amazons continued observing humans for several more days. They visited schools, hospitals, and workplaces to see how humans rebuilt their community. Each act reinforced the lesson: humans thrived through patience, coordination, and collective effort. They did not seek conflict, yet they could respond to it effectively when necessary. During this time, Zara reflected on her own people. The Amazons relied on combat, force, and dominance. Humans relied on intelligence, foresight, and cooperation. Both approaches achieved survival and protection, but the human approach was subtle, strategic, and enduring. Zara realized that if the Amazons had attempted to challenge the city, they would not have succeeded easily. Humans' reluctance to fight was a form of strength that could not be underestimated. It was not aggression that made humans formidable. It was their unity, patience, and resilience. "Perhaps," Zara whispered to Mira, "we came here to study them, but we are learning more than we expected. Humans may not be warriors like us, but they are strong in ways we never imagined. Their strength lies in life, protection, and strategy, not destruction." Mira smiled. "It is remarkable, Captain. They survive by planning, working together, and protecting each other. That is power we cannot ignore. We must respect it." That evening, Zara walked through the city streets in her human disguise. She watched neighbors help one another, families sharing meals, and children playing safely in parks. Every action reflected the humans' collective strength and wisdom. "They have survived without aggression," Zara said softly. "They protect life, coordinate, and persevere. Their reluctance to fight is deliberate, and it works. This is strength in its purest form." Mira added, "Captain, we may have underestimated humans before, but now it is clear. They do not rely on weapons or combat. They rely on unity, planning, and courage." "That is remarkable." Zara nodded thoughtfully. "The Amazons have much to learn from them. Perhaps not all strength comes from combat. Sometimes it comes from patience, cooperation, and protection. That is a lesson we cannot ignore." The Amazons returned to their ship, ready to continue their mission. They had witnessed humans facing real danger and observed how their reluctance to fight turned into effective defense. The Amazons had come expecting to find weakness, but they found resilience, courage, and strategic intelligence. Zara knew that the final phase of their mission would require even deeper understanding. Humans had proven that their strength was not in aggression, but in preparation, cooperation, and protection. The Amazons had learned a powerful lesson. Sometimes the quietest strength is the strongest. As the ship rose above the city, Zara looked down at the glowing streets. Humans moved through their lives with calm determination, ready to face challenges without resorting to unnecessary violence. Zara felt a growing respect for the species. Humans were not warriors in the traditional sense, but they were powerful, capable, and wise. They are a species worth studying and respecting, Zara said. Perhaps in the future humans will not only survive, but they may also teach us a new way to understand strength. The Amazons left the city behind, their mission transformed by what they had witnessed. Humans had faced real danger, and their reluctance to fight had not made them weak. It had made them enduring, resilient, and formidable in ways the Amazons had never imagined. The Amazons gathered on the observation deck of their ship, watching the city of Arden glow under the evening lights. After weeks of study, Captain Zara and her crew had come to understand something remarkable. Humans were not warriors in the traditional sense. They did not seek conflict. They did not show strength through aggression or domination. Yet they survived, thrived, and faced challenges with courage, intelligence, and unity. Zara stood silently, her eyes following families walking home, neighbors helping each other, and children playing safely in the streets. She thought about the rogue drone incident. Humans had faced real danger and had responded effectively without weapons. Every action had been coordinated, every decision deliberate, every life protected. Their reluctance to fight was not weakness. It was strategy. Lieutenant Mira approached her. "Captain, we came expecting resistance or fear. Instead, we see intelligence, patience, and courage. Humans survive through wisdom and cooperation. Their strength is different from ours, but it is just as formidable." Zara nodded slowly. "Yes, they fight only when necessary, but their restraint is powerful. We have underestimated them before, but now we understand. Their survival depends on unity, planning, and the protection of life. That is strength we cannot ignore." The Amazons held a council meeting on the ship. Zara spoke to her crew, her voice calm but firm. "We came to observe humans, expecting to see a civilization we could challenge or intimidate. Instead, we have found a species with quiet but extraordinary power. They survive without aggression, yet they are resilient, coordinated, and courageous. This is a species that deserves respect." Lieutenant Mira added, "Captain, we have seen humans respond to emergencies, solve conflicts, and protect each other. They do not rely on combat, but they act decisively when needed. They are strong in ways we rarely encounter in the galaxy." Zara looked at her crew. "We will not harm them. We will not attempt to challenge them. They have proven that their strength is more than physical. It is strategic, cooperative, and enduring. This species has taught us a lesson in true resilience." The Amazons decided to communicate with the humans directly. They sent a message through the city council, requesting a meeting to explain their intentions. Humans responded quickly and politely, offering a time and place for discussion. Zara and Mira prepared themselves carefully, understanding that this interaction would mark a turning point. When the day of the meeting arrived, Zara and her team walked into the council building. Humans greeted them with calm courtesy. Zara removed her cloaked disguise, revealing her alien form. There was no fear in the humans' eyes, only curiosity and openness. Lena, the council leader, spoke first. "We welcome you. You have observed our city, our people, and our ways. You have seen that we do not seek conflict, yet we protect life and ensure the survival of our communities." Zara bowed slightly. "We have observed much. Your species is remarkable. You survive not through aggression, but through cooperation, planning, and courage. Your reluctance to fight is deliberate and effective. We came expecting to see weakness, but instead we found strength, a strength built on unity, intelligence, and protection." The council members listened intently. Zara continued, "We came as observers, but we leave with respect. Humans are not warriors like us, but they are powerful in ways we never imagined. Their resilience and wisdom have taught us lessons our species could learn from." Lena smiled. "Your words honor us. Strength is not always in weapons or battles. Sometimes it is in patience, understanding, and cooperation. Our people survive by valuing life and working together. It is heartening to see that even a species as powerful as yours can recognize this truth." Zara nodded. Yes, we will leave a message of peace. We will no longer view humans as a species to be conquered. Instead, we will remember the lessons you have shown us. Your approach to survival is extraordinary, and it deserves respect. The humans offered the Amazons a tour of their cultural and educational centers. Zara and Mira observed students learning about science, communication, ethics, and strategy. They saw communities coordinating charity programs, disaster preparedness drills, and neighborhood safety measures. Everywhere, humans work together, anticipating problems and protecting one another. It is remarkable, Mira said quietly. Even in small communities, humans display intelligence, courage, and organization. Their strength is subtle, but it is present in every action. Zara nodded. Their strength is deliberate, precise, and enduring. It is a form of power that outlasts weapons. We came expecting to conquer or test them, but instead we are humbled and inspired. Over the next few days, the Amazons learned more about human culture, philosophy, and governance. They saw that humans emphasized empathy, ethics, and collective responsibility. Leadership was not about fear or domination. It was about guidance, trust, and accountability. Humans prepared for challenges before they arrived, responding with thoughtfulness and strategy rather than immediate force. Zara reflected on the differences between her people and humans. The Amazons relied on immediate power, combat skills, and dominance. Humans relied on patience, foresight, and unity. Both methods achieved survival, but humans did so without destruction. Their restraint made them resilient and formidable in ways the Amazons had not anticipated. "Captain," Mira said during a quiet moment, "humans have shown that strength is not only in battle, it is in protection, intelligence, and cooperation. Their survival depends on thoughtfulness and courage. That is an enduring power," Zara smiled. "Yes, Mira. Humans may not strike with force, but they build a strength that lasts generations. Their courage is quiet, their strategy subtle, and their unity powerful. That is the true meaning of strength." Before leaving the planet, Zara addressed her crew. "We have learned a lesson that changes our understanding of the universe. Humans survive because they protect, cooperate, and plan. They do not fight without reason, yet they defend effectively. We will honor this knowledge. Any future interaction with humans will be based on respect, not dominance." Mira added, "Captain, humans have not only survived but also inspired us. Their strength is an example of how intelligence, patience, and unity can achieve what brute force alone cannot." Zara nodded. "Indeed, we came expecting to test a species. Instead, we discovered wisdom. Humans have shown that strength is not always visible, but it can be powerful, enduring, and admirable. We leave this planet with new understanding and respect for their ways." As the Amazons prepared to depart, Zara looked at the city one last time. Humans moved calmly through their lives, resilient in the face of challenges, and united in their communities. Children played, neighbors helped one another, and families shared quiet moments. Every action reflected strength built on intelligence, cooperation, and protection. "They are not warriors in the traditional sense," Zara said softly, "but they are strong in ways we never expected. They survive, thrive, and protect life without aggression. That is power, and it is extraordinary." Mira smiled. "We have learned much from them. Perhaps one day we can bring some of their wisdom back to our people. They have shown us a new way to understand strength." Zara nodded. "Yes, humans are resilient, intelligent, and united. Their reluctance to fight is not weakness. It is deliberate, strategic, and effective. We will remember this lesson, and we will honor it in our interactions across the galaxy." As the ship lifted into space, leaving Earth behind, Zara felt a profound sense of respect and admiration. The Amazons had come seeking knowledge about a species they expected to confront or test. Instead, they discovered a civilization built on cooperation, courage, and enduring wisdom. "They will continue to thrive," Zara said, "and we will carry their lessons with us. Strength is not always visible. Sometimes it is quiet, patient, and enduring. Humans have taught us that, and it is a lesson we will never forget." The Amazons left the orbit of Earth, their mission complete. They had studied humans, witnessed their resilience, and understood their power. Humans had not sought conflict, yet they had shown extraordinary strength in protecting life, cooperating with each other, and surviving challenges with intelligence and courage. For the Amazons, the journey had been transformative. They had learned that power was not always measured by weapons, combat, or dominance. True strength could be quiet, enduring, and built on unity and strategy. Humans had shown them a new way to understand resilience and courage, and it was a lesson the Amazons would carry across the stars. Captain Zara looked back at the distant planet, glowing softly beneath the clouds. We have observed, we have learned, and we have been inspired. Humans are not warriors like us, but they are powerful. They survive through wisdom, patience, and cooperation. That is strength we will honor. Mira stood beside her, gazing at the planet. Captain, we came seeking understanding. We leave with respect. Humans may be one of the most remarkable species we have ever encountered. Zara smiled. Yes, Mira, and their story is only beginning. We have witnessed the strength of life, strategy, and unity. That is a lesson that will guide us in the future. The ship soared into the stars, leaving Earth behind. The Amazons had completed their mission, forever changed by what they had learned. Humans had not only survived, they had taught a lesson in resilience, courage, and the true meaning of strength.